Hey everyone, this is my tiny piece to say that if you're in the EU and play video games, you should probably sign the Stop Killing Games initiative. The UK also has a petition to our government, which I've gone ahead and signed, even though I am highly skeptical given what those UK petitions actually achieve, which is often in the realm between bugger and all. The EU petition is by far and away the one which matters, given they tend to actually push for customers to not be screwed for unfair reasons every now and again. If you don't know what this is, which given my audience is unlikely, it's a consumer movement to challenge the legality of publishers destroying video games they have sold to customers. In effective terms, it's about making them implement end-of-life plans for titles dependent on a central server, meaning they can't restrict access to products without warning. No, it's not about forcing them to maintain servers forever, it's not controlling the content of what can be put in a game, it's just making sure the content of a game can be accessed more or less indefinitely. It doesn't mess with intellectual property or force developers' hands, or any other bad faith nonsense you may have heard. It only means that when support ends, access is maintained, even if it's in an offline or locally hosted state. Sure, you may lose a feature or two, but you will still have the game. There are games from the 90s and early 2000s which are more accessible than titles made just a few years later, because those games are chained to servers and die with them. Tribes Ascend came out in 2012 and got smited just a few years later. Tribes 2, meanwhile, came out in 2001 and is still playable today. This is because it allows for peer-to-peer networking and doesn't depend on central servers. The moment you bought a game back then, that's when your relationship with the creators of the game could effectively end. And that's when it should end. You bought the game. It's yours now, not to be taken away by forces outside of your control with minimal chance for recompense. A lot of old folks complain that stuff nowadays isn't built to last. And well, of course stuff isn't. How can you be sold new stuff if the old stuff works just fine? Stuff has gotten so temporary that young people have caught up to the old, especially in gaming. Think of it like a store. It closes for the night, but you can still go in and the goods will still be there for the taking, even though there's no one serving you. Well, it's a bit like that, only not at all because this is legal and you didn't need to break the window. That joke was awful, and that's because far smarter people than me have already said everything that you need to know on this topic. So I'm just adding to the mass, essentially. Anyway, you should have gone and signed by now. I'll say that what bad consequences I can foresee from this are massively outweighed by the gains, especially from a consumer and preservationist standpoint. Even if you're totally selfish, you should just sign this for your own sake because you only stand to benefit. That's unless you have a live service game in development, but even then you're not going to lose much. You'll probably gain by being in support of this by, showing that you're a good actor. Live service controls as they have been used are incredibly anti-consumer, and are at the stage they're at now via a long history of whittling down the expectations of customers. Horse Armor received mass derision, as did paid mods. There was a completely ineffective boycott of Modern Warfare 3 for its removal of locally hosted servers, but the anger, and the failure to actually follow through on it, was noteworthy. This was a massive moment which emboldened horrible anti-consumer practices. All three of the things I just mentioned, and worse, are commonplace and often unquestioned now. This is because it's not as big a news story the second time something happens, and it's hardly news by the third. Publishers will outweight bad press until they just get what they want. This is why this route is the only one that has legs. There are things modern games do which make me and many gamers my age avoid them, which younger gamers don't even bat an eye at. And while it's tempting to look down on them for this, you can't really blame them because they didn't know how it used to be. They didn't know that they used to get a better deal than this. Anyway, I'm a tiny blip on the radar at this point. I'm English, I'm monolingual, so I encourage anyone who does speak more than one language to make European YouTubers aware so that they can further spread this around. We've got until the end of the month, there has been massive Steam picked up recently. There is hope for it, so do what you can. That's all I've got to say, and just so my regular viewers who don't care about this, though you should, or if you can't do anything, well, just so you're updated, work continues on the final part of Yakuza. It may be at the end of this month, it may be a bit later because I'm away for a week. I've started writing an Urban Rain video, which was meant to be a quick and easy one, but as with me, it's turned into a full-on project. I've also beaten Dead Rising 5 times in preparation to make a video on that. I've also played the incredibly important remake of Dead Rising. That's right, I finally played Chop Till You Drop. It's surreal. There was also some updated graphics port they released, which was easier. I'm not sure if an easier version of Dead Rising is all that captivating for a veteran of the original, but they've spent a lot of money to make something which makes me go, oh, that's cute, a couple times an hour. And that's a real life hour, not an in-game hour. Anyway, that's it. If you haven't already, go sign the initiative.